It's Tuesday, July 23rd. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Salima Shimwefeleni Masipa. In our lead this evening, we commence with a developing story. President Nangolo Mbumba has conferred an official funeral on former Minister of Education, Arts and Culture, Katrina Hanse-Himarwa, who passed away on July 14th. She was 57. Here is Sylvia Hashundali with the details.
The presidency announced in a media statement on Monday that Mbumba conferred an official funeral on Hanse-Himarwa as per Article 32(3)(h) of the Namibian Constitution, read together with Section 3(1) of the Conferment on National Honours Act 2012, Act No. 11 of 2012. The president described the former education minister as a passionate teacher and educationalist whose achievements were highly commendable. He said Hanse-Himarwa, a teacher by profession, contributed significantly to the education sector during her tenure as Minister of Education. Hanse-Himarwa served as Education Minister from 2015 to 2019. She will be laid to rest at Marienthal in Hardap region on Saturday. Sylvia Hashundali reporting for Primetime News.
Moving on to election news. As the deadline for voters' registration draws to a close, the Electoral Commission of Namibia, or ECN, announced on Monday that a total of 1.1 million eligible Namibians have registered as voters within the country and at all diplomatic missions abroad. Suzette Chitaura brings us this report.
The Commission in a media statement said about 1,153,916 eligible voters have registered and represent those registered between the 3rd June and 20th July 2024. ECN said that at least 8 out of the 14 regions have achieved a 70% and above voters turnout by 20th July 2024, noting that the Commission remains optimistic that the remaining 6 regions will continue to improve on voter turnout during the remaining days of voter registration. The regions that have achieved 70% registration and above are Ohangwena, Omusati and Oshana, all with 80% turnout. Kunene registered 75% of eligible voters, Irongo 72%, Oshikoto 71%, while Karas and Kavango West stand at 70%. ECN said as the general registration of voters period nears its end, Namibians are reminded that there is no window opportunity for extending the period of registration due to statutory limitations within which the Commission is required to finalize remaining key electoral activities in preparation for the polling process. Sheila Perestrelo reporting for Primetime News.
Now a look onto happenings amid the Palestine-Israel conflict. Hamas announced today it had signed an agreement in Beijing with other Palestinian organizations, including rivals Fatah, to work together for national unity, with China describing it as a deal to rule Gaza together once the war ends. AFP has more.
Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, who hosted senior Hamas official Musa Abu Marzuk, Fatah envoy Mahmoud al-Alul and emissaries from 12 other Palestinian groups said they had agreed to set up an interim national reconciliation government to govern post-war Gaza. The announcement comes more than 9 months into a war sparked by Hamas's October attack on southern Israel, which resulted in the deaths of 1,197 people, mostly civilians, according to an AFP tally based on Israeli figures. Israel's retaliatory military campaign in Gaza has killed more than 39,000 people, also mostly civilians, according to data from the health ministry in Hamas-run Gaza. The relentless fighting has plunged Gaza into a severe humanitarian crisis. China has sought to play a mediator role in the conflict, which has been rendered even more complex due to the intense rivalry between Hamas, which rules the Gaza Strip, and Fatah, which partially governs the occupied West Bank. Israel has vowed to keep fighting until it destroys Hamas, and world powers, including key Israeli backer, the United States, have scrambled to imagine scenarios for the governance of Gaza once the war ends. Hamas and Fatah have been bitter rivals since Hamas fighters ejected Fatah from the Gaza Strip after deadly clashes that followed Hamas's resounding victory in a 2006 election. Konjeni Ambinga reporting for Primetime News.
On to the latest regarding the U.S. presidential race. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris launched her election campaign on Monday with a blistering personal attack on Donald Trump and vowed to win in November despite the roller coaster of President Joe Biden's shock exit late Monday. U.S. media reported Harris had sailed past the number of delegates needed in order to decisively secure the Democratic presidential nomination. Once more, AFP has more on this story.
And it is my intention to go out and earn this nomination and to win.
As she closed in on the Democratic Party's nomination with the support of a slew of heavyweights and massive voter donations, Harris lashed out at Donald Trump in her first speech to campaign workers since Biden's announcement on Sunday.
Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
Harris also pledged to focus on the politically explosive issue of abortion after Trump praised the Supreme Court's 2022 decision to overturn the long-held federal right to the procedure.
And when we fight, we win. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America and Joe Biden.
Sylvia Shondali reporting for Primetime News.
Stay tuned for your top roundup with the business segment thereafter. Welcome to Primetime Biz, your premier source for all things business related. Leading our business news, the Althaver and List or O&L group of companies has announced the termination of its franchise agreement with Pick n Pay South Africa. The termination will take effect on 30 June 2025. O&L owns and runs 19 Pick n Pay branded retail outlets in Namibia under the existing franchise agreement. Shalva Wells filed this report.
Sven Tiama, executive chairman of the O&L Group, told Nampa on Monday that the decision to discontinue the franchise arrangement is part of the O&L Group's larger Vision 2029 goals. This vision aims to link the company's operations and strategic goals with its long-term objectives. The O&L Group has not provided any specific information on the future branding or operations of the 19 Pick n Pay outlets. Tiama stated that O&L is devoted to retail and is looking into the best ways to develop consistent value-added retail experiences that would benefit all stakeholders. He added that while they value their long-standing partnership with Pick n Pay South Africa, they are confident that this decision is consistent with their commitment to being a more customer-centric and Namibian market-oriented business, while remaining true to their essence of being authentic, caring and passionate. Sheila Berestrelo reporting for Primetime News.
On to the town of Omaruru in the Irongo region, which is facing drastically reduced water pressure since last year, posing a potential water crisis by October this year. Isabel Bento filed this story.
Omaruru prides itself on having its own water facilities, pipes and systems, ensuring independence from external water sources, and despite skepticism from residents, the town boasts the lowest water tariffs on record. Currently, the town relies on the Omaruru River with 12 boreholes, 8 of which are operational and 4 decommissioned. Despite these efforts, water levels have dwindled due to insufficient rainfall, necessitating the installation of 2 more boreholes. The town's mayor, Vincent Kahua, revealed to Nampa that maintaining and upgrading the water infrastructure presents significant challenges, while emphasizing the urgent need to replace old pipes to prevent leaks and ensure consistent water pressure.
Our level of pressure have drastically reduced, starting from last year and this year, this time around, it have already reduced. And the challenge will be, come October this year, we might have a challenge of pressure of water to supply to all the area within the town and Odonje.
According to Kahua, the town council has allocated funds in the new financial budget effective from July 2024 to June 2025 to install 2 new additional boreholes. Konjeni Yambinga reporting for Primetime News.
This is what constituted tonight's top segment. We now consult the weather oracle on tomorrow's countrywide conditions, followed by a roundup of the latest economic news and the Sport Planet segment. Welcome to Sport Planet, the segment dedicated to all things sporting action. We commence with rugby. Alistair Coetzee, the coach of senior national rugby team the Velveteers, says his team must be at the top of their game if they are to collect maximum points against Zimbabwe in the Africa Rugby Cup. The 2024 Rugby Africa Cup is underway in Kampala, Uganda, and will run until Sunday. The tournament features the top 8 rugby unions across Africa and is being held at the refurbished Mandela National Stadium and Wankulunkulu Stadium. Match Day 2 of the championship on Wednesday will feature an exciting blockbuster in the semi-finals between Namibia and neighbour Zimbabwe, as well as the clash between Kenya and Algeria. On to European football conflicts. 2 major bodies representing footballers and football clubs in Europe are filing a complaint to the European Commission accusing FIFA of abusing its position. Football's world governing body has taken unilateral decisions and its conduct infringes EU competition law and notably constitutes an abuse of dominance, FIFPro Europe and the European Leagues body said in a statement today. FIFPro is the global players' union, while European Leagues brings together more than 1,000 clubs from 33 countries around Europe. Its member leagues include the English Premier League as well as the leagues in Italy, Germany and France. They say FIFA's conduct with regards to the international match calendar has harmed the economic interests of national leagues and the welfare of players and argue FIFA's role as a regulator and competition organizer is a conflict of interest. FIFA responded via a statement published on X in which it said the current calendar was unanimously approved by the FIFA Council, which is composed of representatives from all continents including Europe, following a comprehensive and inclusive consultation which included FIFPro and league bodies. Stay tuned for your sports roundup. This concludes your Tuesday's edition of Primetime News. Many thanks for tuning in. Before I sign off, a reminder to follow the on-screen prompts and subscribe to the Nampa TV platform to stay updated on developments shaping the global village. On behalf of myself, Salima Shimwefeleni Masipa, and the crew behind the curtains that ensure this production comes to life, it's adios.